Hare Krishna. Welcome to the HealStrong podcast with me, Namita Purohit. I'm a leadership and life coach, and I'm dedicated to serving my clients overcome all their difficulties around difficult, toxic, narcissistic relationships, to also lead better lives as a life coach. That's what we do. And we also help them in becoming better leaders, in increasing their leadership performance. And this is today's topic is in the Heal Strong podcast. I'm focused more on helping people make massive recoveries and become healed and whole, grow and glow from toxic narcissistic abuse. And today's topic in the Heal Strong podcast is narcissistic in laws and the three ways in which they suppress you, traumatize you, invalidate you. And what can you do about it? What does that do to you, and what can you do about it? This is part of my series that I'm doing for narcissists in different relationships. I've covered narcissistic father, mother, husband, wife, gurus, and now today we're talking about narcissistic in laws. Very difficult situation that a lot of people go through, and in some cultures, people also live together. In some cultures, they may not live together, or in some cultures, even if they have to live together, but they live separately because of the jobs and distances and things like that. So they're not with each other, and in that case, they can still have such amazing, such intense, debilitating effects on you if you are not watchful and if you are not conscious about this. Yes, and this podcast is brought to you by my 5 step Heal Strong program, my coaching program that helps people make a complete recovery from toxic narcissistic abuse using my 5 step signature method to help you go through the steps. With this method, we have helped hundreds of people through our coaching program make complete recoveries and live their lives with zeal and beauty and happiness and attention and grow and glow. And we wish the same for you as well. And for those of you who are liking what they see and who would want to stay connected, can please, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications. And for those who are not watching it on YouTube, you can check out the link to subscribe to my channel in the description below. It's going to be the first line itself. Yes, so that you can get updates for all my different videos as they show up. All right. Now, the first thing, as we're talking about the three ways in which they suppress you and traumatize you, one of the first things that I want to talk about is how they try to wipe out your identity, right? So you're all excited, you're married into this nice family, you have a nice relationship with your spouse, you get, you're hoping to have a nice relationship with your in-laws, with the extended family, with the siblings of your spouse, and so many other people. And you go out of the way and try to make those relationships, but they try their best to erase your sense of self completely, right? And how do they do that? They don't appreciate you at all, no matter what gestures you do to make connections within the family, no matter how well you do things. They always find fault in you. They talk behind your back. They criticize you amongst other extended family relatives who may have taken a liking towards you, but they can't tolerate the fact that others are liking you. And they criticize you behind your back to these others so that all your relationships are cut off from everyone. And so that only they have those connections and they can control your relationships with everyone, and you'll remain alone on an island. Why do they do that? Because I'm sure you're a great person, but they can't tolerate the fact that somebody is liking you also. It's not about more than them, less than them. They cannot tolerate the fact that you're being liked, and they're going to cut you off. They want you to be identityless in the family, and they want to keep their especially the in-laws, right? So if they're narcissistic, they want to keep their flock together, and they want to remain the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, and they keep you from they don't want anyone to be penetrating that system, and they don't want a fresh new person coming in. Why? Because you'll have a different perspective, and their authority and their overall authority and methods of how they are keeping the crabs together and not allowing anyone to escape is will have to change, or there may be some change, or there may be, and you may question things and they may not want to be questioned. Yes, so that's what happens. And they keep you on the edge, constantly alienating you, bad mouthing you, and doing all of these different things to you, and ensuring you remain isolated even from your partner. Yeah, they do that. They don't let you have a good, solid relationship with your partner. And your partner, out of loyalty towards the family, may not be able to connect with you the way they may want to, or they may be narcissists themselves, right? And they may be scapegoated children themselves, right? So that's what you're set for. And they wipe out your identity. They don't ever celebrate your successes. They magnify your failures. They never appreciate you in public or private because they just don't want to acknowledge your identity because that threatens them so much. So that's what they do. And this leaves you feeling confused. This leaves you feeling unimportant. This leaves you feeling unloved. And you think that maybe you were at fault in some way and you try to make up by doing more and doing more, but they're still never satisfied. That's what happens. Now, the second thing they do is they also create a resource crunch. And, like, sorry, in the previous slide, that's what they did. Dhritarashtra, whom we'd also talked about as a narcissistic father in my previous video. Uh, so in the great epic of Mahabharata from the great Vedic Indian culture, there is the story of two brothers, Pandu and Dhritarashtra, and Pandu dies at a young age, but Pandu was the king. And Pandu's children were still young. Pandu was married to Kunti, who's here in the white sari, and their children were still young. So Dhritarashtra, the brother, Pandu's brother, was put in as the caretaker king. Now Dhritarashtra was not qualified to be the king because he was blind. But then he was put in as a caretaker until Pandu's children grow up. But Kunti raised her children in the forest, and even when she came to the palace, she wasn't given a proper welcome by Dhritarashtra. And he trained his own son Duryodhana to be constantly against Kunti's sons, the five sons Pandavas, and he did not stop his son. In fact, he kind of enabled his son to destroy the sons of Kunti and Pandu, and create so many difficulties for them so that they could not get the kingdom, right? So narcissists are known to create resource crunches, whether it's sharing a car, sharing contacts, sharing support systems for you. They're never going to let you connect to whatever resources they have. And in fact, whatever resources you have, they are going to find a way to cut you off those also, whether it's people, whether it's things, whether it's your own wealth. They're going to find ways to cut you off in many different ways, so that you, and why do they do that? So that you remain weak and helpless. Because the weaker and more helpless that you are, the more you're going to stay around them and stick around, because you're going to be helpless, and they'll give you little kindness sometimes, and you'll be like, wow, I got something, right? So that's what they do. And then they create these resource crunches. As I said, they are going to take away all the access to your essential resources, whether it's financial, emotional, familial, everything. And that control tactic will make you feel undeserving and powerless. And that's what they did try to do to the Pandavas and Kunti. That's what Dhritarashtra did, right? He usurped their share, and then he kept them feeling powerless and kept them on tenterhooks. That it came to a point where Duryodhan, his son, did not even allow them to rule on five villages, when in fact they had, the entire kingdom was theirs, right? So that's what they do, and they make you look bad, and they make you themselves look like victims of how bad you are. Because naturally, if injustice is being meted out to you, you're going to speak up. Sometimes you may be angry, sometimes you may be upset, and when you speak up, they're going to say, look at them, they're so disrespectful. Is this how they talk? They don't know our family's culture. They don't know how to connect. They're so bad, and things like that, right? That's what they do. And the thirdly is they shirk adult duties, elderly duties, right? As the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, you would expect them to be just. You would expect them to do their role properly in the family. But even if you are going through the most hellish periods of your life, maybe you are going through a very difficult disease, or maybe you've gone through a lot of grief, or you've been laid off, or you've been, struggling with a child who is their own grandchild who's very sick. But even in that moment, and you would expect them to support you, they will find a way to shirk their adult duties, elderly duties, and their family duties, because they want to see you helpless, and they want to see you begging, and they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. And a lot of times when leadership and protection is needed, instead of doing that, they actually become complicit with the people who are trying to trouble you or create difficulties, or they remain silent in the face of abuse, right? So they fail to uphold fairness or justice in critical situations. And we see that again in the Mahabharata, the great epic, the Mahabharata, from India, where Draupadi, who's the daughter-in-law of Kunti, she's being disrobed in the palace, in the where all the ministers and everyone is sitting. And Dhritarashtra is the king, as you can see in the white right at the back. Draupadi is being disrobed by his own son, and she's the wife of his brother's children, right? But he does nothing. And he allows all that to happen. He allows her to be humiliated. So he doesn't step in as a king. He could have very easily stopped his sons in the position of a king. He could have got them arrested for outraging the modesty of a woman. But he doesn't do that. And by doing more and more of all of these things to you, they really deplete your sense of self. They deplete your sense of confidence. They deplete your sense of um, being able to stand for yourself, and you start losing many chips of yourself. And you need to start, in order to even start to even understand all of these things and to start to learning how to deal with them. You need to start with self love, and I have this beautiful self love bracelet. The link for this is in the description below for the Indian store and the American store, the US store, and also it will show up on the screen at some point, one by one, and you could get it. Now, when you wear this bracelet, which is full of, I'm wearing it too. When you wear this beautiful bracelet, which is full of the rose quartz, and it has the beautiful amethyst as one of the stones, and it has the green jade, and it has the tiger's eye. So the rose quartz helps you strengthen your root chakra and feel stable, secure, and safe again. The amethyst helps you keep your mind calm, and the green jade helps you keep your heart chakra calm as you're going through these situations. And the tiger's eye helps you with your Manipur chakra, solar plexus, so that you can regain and reclaim your sense of self and power and confidence. So, if you're looking for an instant remedy to start feeling better around them, get the self-love bracelet. And not just dealing with them is just going to help you overall so much with being able to love for yourself and have warm, loving feelings towards yourself. And I also have a free guide that's linked below, and the link should show up someplace on the video over here, which describes the 15 traits of toxic narcissistic people. And how does this guide help you? So when you download the guide, you're going to see a lot of different traits over there, and there's some space for you to journal to see whether you're experiencing it and how it's impacting you, right? So when you go through that journal and you go through these different traits, you get a lot of clarity about whether you are dealing with toxic in-laws or not, and and any toxic narcissistic people or not. And it helps you break free from a lot of self blame, because by being in the relationship with them for so many years has made you very confused, and they've probably convinced you that something is wrong with you. But when and there's it's all your fault that the relationships are not working out. But when you go through the guide, you can see how it's not you, it didn't start with you, and it's not you, and you can break free from that blame, and you can get next steps on how to learn how to deal with them better and recover from them. Yes. Now, as you stay, or as you interact, or as you have these type of toxic narcissistic people in your life, what does that do to you? It you're just not able to grow in anything, because they're creating resource crunches, they're breaking your confidence, they're not giving you a sense of belonging. It can break your sense of self, and it can take away your aspirations, because they're trying to be roadblocks at every step. They're breaking your relationship with your partner, and you kind of lose whatever agency you have, so you're unable to grow. Your confidence is broken. You're constantly feeling out of place in their whole family setup. You're trying to fit in, but they don't fit in. They don't let you fit in, and then they constantly make you feel like you're an outsider, and then you're trying to fit in. And also, a lot of your time and energy goes into that, but you end up feeling out of place, and that makes you feel very unhappy too. And you're never going to measure up, no matter what you do, no matter how much you serve them, to please them. And you think that, oh, this is what made them upset. Let me do this next thing so that they'll feel better. But then, no. Oh, okay. Last time they told me that I should not do this, and let me follow their advice and not do that because it makes them upset. And you follow everything to the T, and then they'll change the rules on you. So the goalposts keep shifting, Everything keeps changing, and you are never measuring up against them. And at one point, after many years, you start getting very tired and you get very frustrated for being around such people. You're trained over time to constantly give to them as a result, right? Because of this kind of feeling, like, anytime you do something they're not happy, then you give them more, and then you're not happy, and that's coming from your own vulnerability of wanting to be seen and heard and loved and appreciated and seen as a perfect person. But when you don't measure up, they criticize you, and then you're constantly giving either to keep the peace in the house, or you're constantly giving so that you can get their love and validation or that sense of belonging in the family. And by this, as a result of constantly giving, you lose touch with your own self, who you are, what your aspirations are, what your dreams are, what your needs are, what your feelings are. And because you're not in touch with yourself, which means you're not taking care of yourself, over a period of time, you become very frustrated. It can affect your health, a lot of health issues, imbalanced chakras. And that's why I was talking about the self love bracelet that will help you bring your chakras back to balance. And a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration and a lot of anger, or a lot of sadness, depression. It's going to, something has to give. Yes. And then you have an unformed relationship with your partner. So you don't feel safe and secure in that relationship also, because you feel that either the partner is a narcissist also, or they are a scapegoat of that system and they don't know how to break free. So you never feel very connected with your partner, so you kind of feel alone in the marriage. That's not a very healthy thing to do. And when you add children to the mix, it becomes even more difficult, because they're going to try to control the children and bring them towards them, right? And you lose many parts of yourself and your aspirations over time. You forget who you are. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he was saying that how he's even forgotten what makes him happy, because he's constantly doing things for them. He's forgotten completely what makes him happy, what he likes to do. And then we had to remind him of what he used to be before he got in touch with these people, right? Oh, I like to play cricket. I was very fit. I like to have a lot of fun. I like to meet my friends. I like to do this. And then over a period of time, he just lost all of these things from his life. So this is the toll this takes on you. Now the choice that you have is that you can stay vulnerable, you can stay confused, you can stay stuck, and you can stay resentful about, oh no, why is this happening to me? My life is horrible, these people are bad, these people are wrong, they should not behave like this. And you could either stay in that mess, or you could make a choice to actually do something about it, so that you're not in that situation, in that mental state anymore, which is to overcome your own vulnerabilities that make you susceptible to their abuse, that cause you to get affected by their abuse, and also learning how to deal with them so that you remain unaffected while following the values that you have about dealing with elders and so on. Now, for that, I welcome you to join the Heal Strong program, which is my 5 step formula to help people make a complete recovery from toxic narcissistic abuse. We start with the reveal stage, which is to understand these traits. The second is the peel stage, to understand your own vulnerabilities and weaknesses that make you susceptible to toxic narcissistic abuse. Thirdly, we do the heal stage. Now, within the heal stage, we have a 5 step process where it's a holistic healing of all the past trauma, of all the past anger, of all the past experiences, and overcoming your vulnerabilities also. Then, fourth stage is the deal stage, where now, because you're hale and hearty and you become strong inside and you're healed and whole, you're able to deal with them better, and learning how to deal with all of these different scenarios where they try to cut you off from family, isolate you, or they try to take away your resources or finances, or wipe your identity and so on. Yes, how do you deal with them in those situations and many more confusing situations than crazy making chaos that they create in your life? How to have a better relationship with your partner in spite of having toxic narcissistic in-laws. So that's all you learn in the deal stage, and how to raise your kids around these people. And then we have the zeal stage, which is to live your life at the fullest, to grow materially and to grow spiritually, to grow in those dreams and aspirations that you had suppressed. Yes, like the person I was talking to yesterday, he had put his career on a backseat, also gone to that extent. And now he was like, others have gone ahead and I've just put everything on a backseat. Now I'm not feeling good about it, because I'm not in my career at the level of potential I want to be at, right? So now reviving all those dreams and aspirations and then getting yourself to achieve all of that is the zeal stage that we have, and also growing spiritually. So these are the 5 different stages that we do in the 5 step Heal Strong program. Now you could and I always do this in the podcast. you could, you could, you know, we have four levels of service. You could take the full Heal Strong Mastery membership program, which is bullet item number 3. It's a monthly membership where you can work on these different stages. You get access to all my courses, coaching, community, guided meditations, and everything together. Or you could choose to work one on one directly with me, where I am, you know, giving you a very high level of velvet glove service to work with you and to really be there as your coach, as your sounding board, as your thought partner, and to help you overcome and to help you achieve and grow in your life. Or you could join the program, or you could join the starter pack, which is just a starter. It's a $29. It's about 4 hours of video lectures that you could start with, along with the free free guide that you know I'm talking about, which is to understand the toxic traits. So you could start with the free guide and the starter pack. At right now the price is $29 or 2,900 rupees. Or you could directly come to one-on-one coaching with me, and you know, they're all different types of people who would do that. You could directly come to one-on-one coaching with me, which is to heal yourself. Or you could take the middle ground, which is join the Heal Strong Mastery program, which is a membership where you get access to all my courses, you get access to group coaching, and you get access to community. So many different ways to make progress for every needs and budget. And I look forward to serving you inside. It's not worth it to let you give up your life and sacrifice your life at the altar of being a very sincere family person. Yes, you can continue being sincere, you can continue being a person of God, person of values, and still live your own life while dealing with these toxic narcissistic people. So I'd like you to consider that, and you have my full empathy and full support for those of you who are suffering at the hands of toxic narcissistic in-laws. And remember one thing: those are not the only narcissists in your life. I'm sure there are many more, because uh, you don't always have just one narcissist in your life. And the reason I say that is because you are we have some vulnerabilities too that make us susceptible to many narcissistic relationships at once. And once we overcome those vulnerabilities, all of these relationships get dissolved and they go away. So I want that for you, and I want you to live with zeal, living your dreams, living your aspirations, growing spiritually, growing in all your dreams and your career and your aspirations and your wealth and your happiness and your health. And I look forward to serving you through any of these program offerings that I have, and the links are there in the description below. So, looking forward to stay connected. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel here so that you can get updates for my next podcast on the topic and many other things that I talk